Welcome everybody to Isle Palm City Council. This is a special meeting. This is Thursday, September 26th at 5 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge that both the press and the public were duly notified, obviously, in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. The purpose of this meeting is a presentation and discussion of the proposals received for the Isle Palms Marina Restaurant. We have 3 proposals. We're going to do them one at a time. The first up is Jay Clark for Beragon LLC.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jay Clark from Morgan Creek Grill. I'm a resident of the Isle of Palms, and we've been operating the restaurant for about 16 years now. I have submitted documents to the city previously regarding developing a new lease for Morgan Creek Grill. We very much would like to be considered to negotiate with the city. We've been trying for several years to get an extension of our lease so that we could complete a lot of pre-planned capital improvements to the building that we've been unable to do because of the short term of the lease as it's come over the past few years. So I don't have a lot to present here at this point in time to the citizens. Thank you all for coming. If you have questions, you can contact us always at info@morgancreekgrill.com. And I'm sure as this process proceeds along, that more will become public for everybody as far as how this all proceeds. Are there any questions from anybody at this point for me? We okay? All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jay. And just so everybody knows, we're not going to go into details during this presentation. We're just doing presentations so our public can hear the different proposals. Next up, Dave and Chrissy Lorenz and John and Bridget Bushnell.
Dog and pony.
Perfect. Hi, my name is John Bushnell. This is my partner, Dave Lorenz. Both of us are also island residents. We have a couple slides today to talk about our presentation, and we were also asked to provide a conceptual outline of what the restaurant would look like, as well as the proposed interior design, as well as the menu and concept. So a couple slides to go through. First of all, it is going to be a neighborhood restaurant that is going to be smaller than the existing footprint. And to give you a little bit of background, we have both been long-term island residents. We both have families with small children. And I'll hand it over to Dave to talk a little bit about his restaurant experience.
So we'll just talk a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about my background and what I've done and stuff like that, and John's going to talk a little bit on that. First off, this is not going to be a MX1 on the marina. I've heard that thrown out and stuff like that. I don't know if you know MX1. We've got 3 in town, one on Sullivan's, one in West Ashley, and one in Mount Pleasant. And this isn't going to be a MX1. It's a totally new concept. I've been involved in the restaurant business for over 20 years. MX1, Bohemian Bull out on Folly Road we had for a while. I was with Sticky Fingers for over 10 years as a director of purchasing, brand development, all kinds of stuff. Worked with Jack Hurley, Jack's Cosmic Dogs, and even did some consulting with Charlestown Hotels. We helped some restaurants that were out in Arizona go from the red to the black in 6 months. So my wife and I, Chrissy Lorenz, which is here, son Van, Cameron that's not here, we've been on the island for 14 years, and huge fans. But we just, as you can see, a lot of restaurant experience, very local. We love the island, and so we're really wanting to bring something to the community, to the island, that speaks to the island, is a part of the island, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll turn it over to John to talk a little bit about himself.
Sure. Again, I'm John. I have a background in finance and currently work in finance. My wife is Bridget, and she's a CPA. How we divided our responsibilities is my wife and I are going to be responsible for the financing of the real estate, the ongoing maintenance, and the payment of the lease terms that are ultimately decided with the city. Dave and Chrissy would be responsible for the operations of the restaurant. So there's a clear divide in terms of real estate-related issues. I would be handling that. In terms of operation, menu, pricing, that would be on Dave and Chrissy to handle all those issues. So with that, we were asked to provide a kind of a high-level conceptual idea of the restaurant. In short order, we didn't have time for architectural plans, but we did find some visual representation of other restaurants that we would like to mirror it or design it after. As a high level, the building would be about half of the square footage that it is currently. We would place it on the existing footprint. It'd be about 4,500 square feet inside. There'd be about a 1,500 square foot outdoor porch, where currently there's a dining room, that the back room towards the water, that would be an outdoor porch. And then we would make use of the sand pit area that would be more paved, and we would also have additional golf cart parking and bike parking for residents at the far end of the sand area near the boat ramp. So there'd be a little bit more access for residents in that waterfront area. In addition, again, we would keep it smaller. We would have a second floor outdoor porch that would be about half the size of the indoor. So about 2,000 square feet would be up on the second floor roof deck.
So here's a little kind of visual. Now, this isn't, obviously we didn't build this restaurant, but this is kind of conceptually something we're thinking of, modern, but coastal, real open, light, airy, really a cool fit to speaks to the island, but it is also kind of updated and modern a little bit, a little modern coastal.
And the picture is more sizable than the 4,500 square feet, but again, on short notice, we were requested to provide some type of idea of what we were going for. So it would probably be about half or three-quarters of this building. But again, it would be very coastal. A lot more glass would be on the front, the first floor, facing the intercoastal and the Morgan Creek. And then the second floor would have a partial roof with a lot more outdoor access, similar to these pictures here, where it would be much more of a relaxed island vibe feel.
Very open, very airy. Get into kind of the interior piece. I'll show this around as well. Y'all have been to restaurants nowadays. They're modern. They've got, nice openness to them. The bar and the dining rooms kind of connect, and gets kind of the look of what's happening in the restaurant scene now. So see all that.
And then if you want to talk about the concept for the menu.
So again, this is not going to be Max 1. Just making that clear. But we see obviously seafood-driven, modern, casual, so you've got different price points. It's very important nowadays to hit, I want to go take my kids out, and we want a quick dinner before we have to go home, get the kids to bed. So you want that, you don't want to break the bank. But then I may call John, and we want to go out and get our wives and go have a nice dinner. So you've got to be able to balance those two, where you've got the casual, you want to just go get some beers with some buds, or you want to go out on date night and be able to balance those two things. So we've created, and our concept is going to be a menu that would be able to touch both points. And that's very common in the restaurant scene nowadays, that restaurants are doing that. So with the bar concept, we see a lot of local craft brews. Island Coastal Lager for sure will be on the menu, if they're in the house. But a good classic, good classic cocktails, great wine selection, some fun drinks, things like that. So that's kind of the bar element. Menu-wise, we see again a balance of reasonably priced items, modern casual dining, which is an element of you're able to go and get some good appetizers, shareable items, and then seafood baskets, burgers, things like that. But also you will have some dry-aged steaks, we'll have some fish dishes, things like that. It'll be a good mix. And I think nowadays, when you go out, you see a lot of restaurants doing that. There's a nice merge of those different kind of price points and things like that. So we're going to develop that type menu. So I know it's right around dinner time and salivate a little bit. These look really good, and we'll have we'll have a nice menu, salads too, and things like that. So this is kind of our idea for the, we don't have a name or anything like that. We really want to have community involvement and stuff like that. We want to have the locals involved. We've lived here for a long amount of time. We got a lot of friends in the audience, and you know, we've been here. We're not going anywhere, and we just want to make a cool place so we can hang out and enjoy the island, you know, with our neighbors. So that's kind of our pitch. Y'all have any questions for us?
Nope, I think we're just doing the presentations, and then again afterwards we're going to go and talk behind. But thank you for the presentations and getting everybody.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Next up, Low Ravenel Commercial Properties and Isle Palms Marina.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, dedicated staff. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you some of our ideas and our proposal. And wow, this is amazing. To those in the audience, good afternoon and thank you for coming. I'm used to there only being a few in attendance in these meetings, so this is very encouraging. And I urge you to stay informed, and go to our website if you have questions. It's iopmarina.com. There's a contact tab down there. We encourage you to make suggestions, recommendations. You will get an answer. Or alternatively, you can email me directly. I'm Brian with an I at iopmarina.com. I'm Brian Beragon. I've been the marina manager since the city purchased the property in January of 1999. I've been the co-owner and managing partner of Marina Outpost since early 2007. I was in this room, and I think Ryan was in the audience with me 21 years ago when the city was proposing to purchase the property from the Finch family. So I have an intimate knowledge of the site and its pitfalls. More importantly, I have an intimate knowledge of its potential. Tonight's format is more of a Q&A for the council and those of us making proposals, but certainly the public would like to and deserves the right to chime in. Again, please go to our website, iopmarina.com, go to the contact, send us your questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, whatever you may have. The previous two proposals are worthy of looking at, and we heard some solid ideas. Jay and his staff have done an admirable job with Morgan Creek Grill, and Mex One is a nice restaurant. But with the current leases in place, neither group can offer what our team can. Speaking of our team, I'd like to introduce some of the members who are in attendance tonight. Sam Paris sits with Lowe's, and he is Dan Batista's right-hand man. Tucker Irvin is with Ravenel Commercial Properties and is part of our investment arm. Sam and Tucker were born and raised here locally. They attended the College of Charleston. They're beginning their family here in Charleston area. They are young, they are dedicated, they are energetic, and they are extremely talented in their respective jobs. Dan Batista, those of you up here know him well. He stood at this podium many times before. Those of you who aren't familiar with Dan, he is a senior director, vice president of Lowe's, which holds the assets of Wild Dunes Resort. Recently purchased the State Ports Authority building on Concord Street in downtown Charleston. And I'm not sure if any of y'all saw an article in Monday's edition of the Post and Courier. It's labeled or titled "Memory Block," and it has to do with the employees of the State Ports Authority wanting some of the bricks from the old building that was getting ready to tear down. So they went to their CEO and president, Mr. Jim Newsom, and said, any chance you could ask them if they could get us some of the bricks? And I said, hey, Dan, is there any way you could save some of those bricks for us? Newsom recalled, I don't particularly want one, but it was a big topic of discussion here for some people who spent a lot of time in their career, with their career here. That's where we started the port, and I respect that. Low obliged with 4 pallets worth, carefully placed and shrink wrapped and hauled out to the authorities' new offices. About 50 authority workers have requested one as of last week. I thought that was very nice of Lowe, Newsom said, but that's just the kind of people they are. They are just phenomenal. With that, we feel we have the team in place to make the marina site something all island residents will be proud of for generations to come. I'd like to welcome Dan to the podium to present some of what our ideas and our proposals are. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I want to say thank you to Mayor Carroll, all members of City Council, our wonderful City Administrator, Desiree, and also to all city staff and to all the residents that have come out today to listen to these proposals. And I have to echo Brian's sentiments. I think both the other proposals are very worthy proposals. And for the team that did the second proposal, I really did like the conceptual drawing of that restaurant. That's a very cool building. So I think that you guys are spot on with what you're trying to do. I know, my name is Dan Batista. For those of you that don't know me, I've been here in Charleston for 14 years, all those years being spent out at Wild Dunes Resort. Can't hear me? Okay. I have been here out at the Isle of Palms for 14 years with the owners of the resort assets out at Wild Dunes. And we spent a lot of time investing in that property and also looking to invest further in this region as we continue to grow our footprint. And one of the things that, when Brian first approached me and asked me if we'd be interested and looking at partnering with him and with Ravenel out at the Isle of Palms Marina. After spending a lot of time walking the property and going through it, we made a decision that initially we thought, well, it definitely is a beautiful piece of property, and obviously the city has owned it for the past 20 years. But we did have a little bit of trepidation. But then as we dug in, we did start to see a true vision that could be brought to that property. But I will say that we see it much differently than the other two proposers have seen it. And as we've dug in and done the due diligence, one of the things that we think is necessary there is capital investment. There's no way that the things can be done to realize that vision without the proper capitalization. So our proposal includes obviously investing all of the necessary capital to improve the existing restaurant building. Now, I will say we've gone through the Hill construction report in fine detail. We've brought our own structural engineers out there. We'd have to spend some time with the building department and with Douglas and William to truly understand what needs to be done out there, but we have concerns about that building. There's no two ways about it. Eventually that building does need to be raised and a new building needs to be built there, but in the short term we are concerned about its current certificate of occupancy and being able to utilize that building in its current state. I don't know what the number is as to what needs to be done. I know Hill Construction pegged somewhere between $3 and $5 million. That's what's going to be necessary to bring it up to speed before it could even be thought about for a new concept. So we definitely would be willing to invest that money to improve that restaurant. And then the second thing that we would like to do with respect to capital investment is the current lessee, there's an obligation to fund the improvements to the marina. And those improvements are estimated to cost somewhere in the range of $4 to $5 million. I think the last estimate was maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago by ATM. They had done all the permitting for the marina improvements. being well familiar with where construction costs are going in this environment, I can tell you that that's probably an aggressive number. That number could be north of $5 million to make sure that those improvements get done. We're willing to make that investment and take that obligation away from the city and be able to make those improvements on behalf of the city for the marina. The other thing we'd like to do, as all of you know, as you arrive there at the marina, the parking lot can use some love and some care. So we'd be willing to make that investment as well to improve that parking lot with respect to what needs to be done with capital improvements. And then, with respect to what we can do as an operating entity, we clearly would like to bring a new concept to the restaurant. We think it's a wonderful waterfront location, and clearly, in thinking about all the residents of the Isle of Palms, we think that something that needs to be instituted is a discount for all of the patrons and residents of the Isle of Palms for whatever restaurant concept winds up being, incorporated into that site. We also think that it would be great to make an investment in a public pier that would be for residents so that they can launch kayaks and paddle boards and make that a residents only, so that it can be more geared towards an area where the residents can utilize that marina and have access to the waterfront. We also would like to incorporate a new concept with the current marina operations where all boat launching would be free for Isle of Palm residents. If in fact there's other improvements that can be done with boat storage, obviously that would be something provided to all Isle of Palm residents with a right of first refusal, so they would be able to have that, without having to worry about anyone off island having a spot in line before them. And then we'd also be willing to fund the future capital investments on all improvements that would be required out at the marina. We think that by providing that capitalization, that marina can really be turned into a phenomenal asset, not only for the city, but for all the residents here on Isle of Palms. So that is basically our proposal with respect to what we can do. In order for that to happen, what we do need is a period of due diligence to work with the city exclusively to negotiate an agreement, and we'd also need a 99-year lease on the property. Currently, the current lessee that controls the marina and the marina outpost has, I believe, 20 years remaining on his lease. And so what we'd be looking for is a master lease for the entire property so that we would be able to have that under a 99-year lease, which obviously would help with the funding and the capitalization. And then also, we'd like to talk to the city about the zoning for the property, because in order to do that, we would eventually like to see some future redevelopment there to bring other types of asset classes to supplement the marina in addition to a new restaurant. And so that's what we're looking to do. That's the proposal that we've laid out. Clearly, we're welcome to all suggestions. I echo Brian's sentiments. It's great to see so many people here in this council chamber. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of interest as to what goes on at that property, and we feel the same way. We've been out here for 30 years investing on the island, so to us, we're very pleased to see the type of attention that this issue has brought to the residents. And so with that, I thank you for providing this opportunity to this special meeting for us to all be able to present our proposals. And I have to say again, I think Jay has done a wonderful job with what he's done at Morgan Creek Grill. So I think that he should be commended. And I also think that the previous presenters have put forth a really nice concept. I mean, now that it's out in the public, I might be able to steal that. So, but I got to tell you, I got to tip my cap. It's a really nice concept. So thank you so much for hearing all our proposals. And with that, I know you've got a lot to ponder. And so,
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
What's that public doc going to be? There's no comment.
This is really
There's no comment.
not a public, back and forth right now.
I tell you what, though, not that I would dare overrule the mayor, but I will be here for as long as anybody wants to ask me questions outside of chambers.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Jay, Dave, Christy, John, Bridget, Brian, Dan. But before I hear a motion to go into executive session, we, your city council, are all extremely pleased that everyone came out here in this crowd tonight, because whatever we do, this is our legacy that we're going to leave behind. This is a huge decision, and we've got a lot of talking to do. So thank you all for coming tonight and hearing this. And I hate to say this, but do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
For what?
Executive session.
Negotiation.
Executive session is for discussion of negotiations incident to the proposed contractual arrangements related to the marina restaurant lease. And I heard a motion and I heard a second. And hearing no discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Okay, we are now coming out of executive sessions. No decisions were made, and we are now. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.